Hello, welcome to Jason the Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to you here in my parents' basement in the great state of Kansas, and reviewing the movie Happy Gilmore 2. Um, I know this movie came out a little while ago on Netflix. I watched it a little while ago. I've been meaning to do a review of it. I finally got around to talking about this movie. I was a little excited for it just because I have a lot of nostalgia for the first Happy Gilmore. Though watching the first Happy Gilmore, I think I liked it a lot more when I was a kid. I remember it coming out when I was a kid. Loved it. I thought it was one of the funniest movies I ever saw. Adam Sandler was huge because I was a big Saturday Night Live fan. So he was definitely a huge, like, comedic actor, young comedic actor at that time. And his movies were doing very well, I feel like, and all that. So he's hitting it hot. It was a cool premise, a hockey player who becomes really good at hitting the golf ball because he kind of hits it like a hockey puck, I guess, and the way he runs up and hits it. And then he's trying to, and even though the story is actually not that bad of a story, when you look at, he's trying to save his grandma's house and stuff like that by making money, and has a great villain in Shooter McGavin. It definitely still has its very funny parts. I mean, the Bob Barker scene, that's still a very funny moment. Him fighting Bob Barker, and a lot of good cameos in there. Kevin Nealon and all this, come in. Yeah, so it all works. So coming into Happy Gilmore 2 when it's like 30 years later, okay, what do you do now with this character 30 years? And I don't know. To me, I'm like, okay, if you keep it kind of similar to the first movie, maybe I'll have some nostalgic fun for it. But this movie was horrible. It was one of the worst comedies I've ever watched. I didn't laugh one time. I'm not and I'm so serious. I never laughed once the whole movie, which is bad when it's a comedy and you don't laugh once. That's the sign of really bad comedy. This movie did not work at all for a number of reasons. One, I feel like Adam Sandler, he's doing the Happy Gilmore character, but he didn't feel any different than any other Adam Sandler character. I didn't feel like, I don't know, it didn't feel like that. And maybe this is hard when you have a character that really works. And I think the Happy Gilmore character works better being like in his 20s or whatever he was in the first movie. I know in this movie he's like 59 years old in real life. He's almost 60 years old by the time he made this movie, Adam Sandler. And so this kind of, what makes that character funny is he's a very immature, obnoxious character that kind of works when he's younger. But now that you're older, the immature, obnoxious character doesn't work anymore. So what's the point in the character? It just didn't feel the same at this point. So it doesn't really work. The character doesn't really work as an older character as it does as a younger character, I think, overall. And then you put in the whole plot was not nearly as good of a plot or a story as the first movie. This one, and maybe one of the worst parts of this movie, and it's a spoiler, it's a big spoiler, but I have to talk about it. You know, Julie Bowen, the actress, plays this character that is kind of his love interest in the first movie, and we see them kind of get together at the end. And so now in this movie, we see like 30 years later or whatever it was, they get married and they have like a bunch of kids. So they have this, at the end of the first movie, you have this, oh, they live happily after. Her, grandma, maybe got her house back or whatever, he bought her house. He falls in love with Julie Bowen's character and they get married and have, it's all great, like a happy ending story. This movie totally ruins the happy ending of the last movie, which I absolutely hate when movies do that. And we've seen Star Wars do this. Star Wars totally destroyed the happy ending of the first trilogy when they made that sequel trilogy. Um, and I feel like I've seen other movies where it's like, oh, yeah, where you like, what's the point of this movie? Just to ruin the last. Indiana Jones did that too. It was like Indiana Jones 5 kind of ruined the happy ending of Indiana Jones 4. I don't know why they do this. Why they make a sequel that ruins the rest of the movies. And this did it where, again, spoiler, big spoiler for the movie. Okay, because it happens right at the beginning of the movie. Julie Bowen, his wife, gets killed by him accidentally hitting a golf ball, and the golf ball hits her and kills her. And this is a comedy, and you kill off the wife and the mother of these kids at the very beginning, which is not a funny thing. It's a very tragic, sad event, and you just totally kill this big important character that you know that, like I said, it was a happy ending at the end of the movie when they got together. And then now it's a super sad story. It's a super tragic, sad story that just kills all the comedy vibes just by that. I absolutely, absolutely hated that decision. I remember watching it when that happened, and it's so stupid because he hits a golf ball and hits her and it kills her. It's like, what a stupid way to kill off a character and try to make it like funny. Like he accidentally hits her with a golf ball, you know. It just, I don't know, it's just in bad taste or something. And it totally ruined the movie right at the beginning. As soon as that happened, I was like, oh, I hate this movie already. Like that totally ruined the movie. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna like this movie after that. I did not want to. I hate that they did that to that character, and ruined the first movie just with that one thing. And so they also turned the character into this sad, drunk, depressed person. Again, he was so happy, everything was great at the first movie, and now you take him and you make him the sad character. Like I don't want to see that Happy Gilmore turn into sad character. That's not why I wanted to watch this movie. And so the whole movie really is about him being an alcoholic and also losing all his money that he made from the first movie. It's like, again, he made all this money, he had success, he had fame, he had a wife, you know, and they destroy all of it. No more wife, no more fame, really, no more money, and he's drunk and he has these, you know, works at a grocery store or something like that. You know, just totally killed anything good about the first movie and this character. It was a terrible idea, terrible premise, and the whole, and even the plot is so terrible in some ways because at first it's like, oh, your daughter needs money to go to ballet school or something like that, and played by his real daughter, of course. And so he's like, oh, I need to make money. So then he decides to go back into golfing because he thinks he hadn't golfed in a long time because of what happened to his wife. And so now he's going to golf and try to make money to pay for, which is not as interesting as a story as playing golf to make money to save your grandma's house is a much more better storyline than sending your daughter to ballet school, whatever. But then that plot only lasts for 10 minutes, and then the whole plot changes to now there's this rival golf person who's trying to make a golf team that is cool or something and change the way we do golfing or something like that. And anyways, and it goes into this whole plot about this kind of, and he comes the villain of the movie, and Happy Gilmore then has to, now he wants to beat him in golf so he doesn't I don't know, relive his dream of this company or whatever of doing golf different. I don't know. It's very strange. So yeah, the plot totally changes where it's just he's going after this guy, and they have a big golfing thing at the end. And I would say the only person that felt like they were trying was I'm forgetting the name, the actor who played Shooter McGavin. He actually, I thought, did a fine job. Again, like I said, I didn't laugh at anything he said, but I appreciate his performance, I guess, in a way where I felt like Adam Sandler was just not trying. I don't know how to say it. Like, to me, he was just, and I think it's because as he's gotten older, I feel like his performances have just like, as far as comedic performances, like, I don't know, just don't feel like he's trying that hard anymore. It just feels like he's just phoning it in. And he's made some horrible comedies that some I've seen, some I haven't seen. He's made some of the worst comedies ever. And this kind of goes in that category. It's one of the worst comedies I think I've ever seen and Adam Sandler's ever done. Where just, I don't know, he just doesn't have that comedic touch anymore like he used to, I think, when he was younger. I think he's being older. He just, I don't know, lost some of that, what made him interesting and unique as a comedic actor. I don't know, something's missing with Adam Sandler. And I know he's done some more serious stuff that I haven't seen yet, and people like Uncut Gems. I haven't seen that movie, and Punch Drunk Love I've never seen. No, so I don't know if I did see Hustle. I thought he gave actually a pretty good performance in Hustle, so I can see him maybe doing more dramatic work. But it's hard because he's had such a reputation for comedy, and not just comedy, but very silly and immature comedy has kind of been his thing. And it's so hard to do that silly, immature comedy now, and now that he's in the 60s. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with his career. It just, this is not it, though. And this is a sequel that would have been great 25 years ago, instead of waiting 30 years to do a sequel. Like, maybe, really a couple years after that first movie, that's when you make the sequel. sequels almost never work when you wait that long. You look at Dumb and Dumber, or you look at Zoolander 2. These sequels from long periods of time, like I can't think of one that really works, and that's always a problem. So it was just a bad idea. It was just a cheap like cash grab. I feel like I say cheap. I don't know. It was kind of like cash grab because he knew that people would watch. Of course, it's on Netflix because everything Adam Sandler does is on Netflix. So it's not even a movie. I don't know if this was a movie theater. I think it still do okay because I think there's enough nostalgia that people will go see the movie, and that's the only reason to make this movie is to play on nostalgia of the people that love the first movie. Like even me, like I'd go see it just because I love the first movie enough. I don't love it, but I really like that first movie enough that I've watched this and then realized, oh gosh, they weren't trying in this one. I don't think the cameos were really terrible, to be honest. Travis Kelsey does have a cameo in here, and it's a little weird moment in the movie. Bad Bunny, why Bad Bunny? He's not an actor, and he's the caddy, and I'm like, he's not funny at all. Why did they? His neighbor is played by John Daly, who's a golfer. He's not a comedic actor. Why do you give such a big part to a golfer? Not, put Kevin James or somebody in that role. Someone funny. It doesn't make sense. Steve Buscemi has like a very small part in here, and he's one of the best comedic actors that appears in a lot of Adam Sandler movies. So he's one that I would like to see more of or something. There's a lot of golfers. I don't know nothing about golf, so I'm like, I don't know any of these golfers. So that made those golfing cameos did nothing for me. The only cameo I really got excited for was Becky Lynch. When I saw Becky Lynch, the wrestler, I was like, oh, that's Becky Lynch. I thought that was kind of cool. And she looked pretty good, too, in the movie. She was pretty good looking. Yeah, besides that, and it's these weird cameos where everybody that was in the first movie, like, has a son that appears in this movie. And it's just, I don't know, one funny. It's like you're trying to be funny just because like you're playing the son of somebody. Like Chubbs has a guy who's also has a missing arm for some reason, and he also teaches golf or something. And it's played by this comedic actor or stand-up comedian, and it was like, what? Like, why do we have this? Even Eminem shows up as the son of Joe Flattery's character, who called him like jackass and like ruined him when he was golfing that one time. And he shows up, and this is just how stupid the movie is. He shows up to try to mess up Happy Gilmore again, just like his father did. And he dresses it's funny, like their sons dress just like their fathers. It's so stupid. It's a stupid comedy thing. Yeah, I thought it was so stupid. But he comes in and he's like trying to mess with him, and he's like, well, I can't fight you. But then his kids come and they're like, we can fight you because, it's not against the rules for, I guess, for his kids to fight him. So they come in and they beat him up and they throw him in the water, and alligator comes in and kills Eminem's character, the son of the character from the first movie. And everybody goes about their business. Like, if somebody got killed in a golfing by an alligator, wouldn't we stop everything? Wouldn't that be a big deal? It was so stupid that he just shows up, gets killed by an alligator. Eminem is in there for 5 minutes or 2 minutes, and he gets killed by an alligator, and that's the end of the character. It's like, what was the point of that? It was just so stupid. Even his boss, who's played by the actor who was Jaws in James Bond, he has a kid played by a basketball player who's like 7 foot tall, Boban, and he appears in here as the son of the guy that was in the first movie. It's like, okay, I don't know. So it was just a lot of that. Where like Ben Stiller does comes back as a terrible. He was the I don't know what he was, a DON or whatever he was of the nursing home that his mom had to live in, and he was a horrible person. And he comes back here to just because they wanted to bring that character back, and it makes no sense. But now he has a different role, and he does get his comeuppance, which is good because he never got in the first movie. That was my biggest gripe of the first movie, is that guy never got beat up by Happy Gilmore when he was treating his grandma real bad, who he loves. And so we do get it finally at the end of this movie. He kind of gets his comeuppance where he gets arrested or something. And, I don't know. I think his role should have been smaller. I think maybe he should have appeared and just got beaten up or something by Adam Sandler. I would have been happy enough with that. But anyways, yeah, this was overall, I don't know much more to say except this is probably the worst movie I've seen so far this year. It's the worst comedy I've seen so far this year. And it's, yeah, just one of the worst comedies. I give it half a star. Lowest rating I can kind of give it on Letterboxd. Most of you probably seen it already, but I would say, in my opinion, skip this movie. But then again, I know a lot of people I think like this movie more than I did. But for me, Happy Gilmore 2, just definitely a movie to skip on Netflix. And please, no more Adam Sandler. Just no more of these kind of comedies. So, but yeah, that's my thoughts on Happy Gilmore 2. Let me know your thoughts here in the comment section. Love to hear what you guys all think. Besides that, thanks so much for watching the video. Thank you for liking it. And thank you to all my subscribers for supporting the channel. I appreciate you all and hope you have a good day.